ISIS did destroy a lot, though. It's quite sad. Yeah, it's just that when ISIS destroyed stuff, the entirety of like Western media and, you know, Western governments, they all united behind the idea that ISIS was evil and what they were doing was wrong. But Israel can just do whatever the fuck it wants.
The withdrawal of Israeli soldiers 26 years ago from Beaufort was such a national trauma that it became a major film that won prizes in Europe. And so today, with this recapture
Can
of
Israel do this on its own without USA support? No. The only reason Israel's allowed to get away with this is because they have a sort of forced peace with Saudi Arabia, the rest of the Gulf states, and Egypt. But if it was not for the United States, one, protecting them in UN resolutions, and two, forcing Egypt, Saudi Arabia, etc., to get along with Israel because we have a relationship with them. We give Egypt the fuck ton of money, keep the Suez open. Saudi Arabia, we have the oil relationship. If it wasn't for that, no, Israel would not be able to get away with what it's doing for very long. They need us to protect their interests there.
Beaufort, the Beaufort Castle, what we're seeing on the one hand is the Prime Minister announcing what he called, and I'm quoting now, a dramatic change in policy. He's trying to save his own reputation. Israelis living in the north have been subject to non-stop bombardment now for several days. Schools are officially now closed. Life is impossible to live. And the Prime Minister is under a kind of public assault to prove that he can protect the nation's north. So he ordered this massively expanded offensive in Lebanon as an attempt to save his own name as Mr. Security. And he's calling this return to a quarter of a century ago, a new policy, but it's being received in Israel with a lot of questioning and wonderment. I can quote in particular retired General Nimrod Shefer, who is now in the opposition.
Even Hamas fought ISIS? Everyone fought ISIS. Nobody liked ISIS. Nobody liked ISIS. Everyone hated ISIS. ISIS had no allies. The only allies ISIS had were other ISIS-like groups, you know?
Saying that calling this a victory is like calling any defeat a victory.
And Noga, look, help us understand this expanded operation in Lebanon, what it means now for the broader situation in the Middle East, particularly those efforts by the United States to try and secure a durable ceasefire with Iran.
It's very complicated.
She does look fucking exhausted, doesn't she? Relevant? Yeah, we took a look at this. It's a bit of an overstatement. Some people are saying that we're trying to integrate the US-Israeli militaries. That's not true. Like, the command structures are obviously not getting integrated. What's actually happening is an attempt to further integrate, like, the MIC backing, right? The sort of economic connection between the two, which, I mean, to an extent, is already, like, really well intertwined. I don't really care that much, to be honest. Like, our relationship with Israel is not bound by law. If law was relevant, we wouldn't be able to provide weapons to Israel because it would be illegal for us to do so because they've been found to be committing war crimes with the weapons we give them. Law is irrelevant. Law can bind us to Israel or, you know, repel us from it. It doesn't really matter. As long as Zionists control our government, they're going to do whatever they want. The rider is not bound by the laws of the horse. Type shit. How's Israel able to finance all of this? Do the soldiers not get paid? Israel's entire economy is a war economy. Like, economically, Israel is not really doing that well, and it's not a very wealthy country. It has a good GDP per capita, but if you take a look at, like, the investment of that wealth, where it goes and how it circulates, a lot of it is speculative investment, tech, like surveillance tech, yeah, and military, you know? Firearms, the actual pay of the soldiers, the companies they buy their weapons from, and the deep ties they have with the American military-industrial complex. Like, Israel does not have a fuck ton of money to throw around. The state of Israel. When it comes to, like, broader non-military civil projects. In this respect, it's not at all dissimilar to basically every other settler colonial project ever, which is that the lives and safety of the citizens are worsened so that more money can be directed towards the brutalization of the indigenous people. It's an old pattern. It's been going on for a while. It's not great. I saw a video about integrating the US-Israeli militaries. I don't like... Okay, please be careful with your language, because most people are not bright. So when you say integrating the US-Israeli militaries, what you're going to lead a lot of people to believe is that, like, US soldiers are going to start taking orders from IDF officers or something. Like, that's what they think that means. You know, I want people to be clear. What this is an economic integration. It's a bill that would further merge, not for the first time, but further merge existing like economic and logistical structures between the IDF and the U.S. military. You know.
So a lot of people have been talking about this new proposal going through Congress about integrating the American and Israeli military forces. It's embedded in Section 224 of the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. But this leads to us not only giving them an unprecedented amount of money and resources, but military actions and intelligence between the two countries would be very closely intertwined. Basically, anything we would know, they would know. This causes lots of problems, especially because of increased political influence from Israel, which they already have anyway, but also because it greatly increases the chances that we would be pulled into future wars in the Middle East that we have no business being in, which most Republican presidents don't have a problem with anyway. They love getting into wars in the Middle East. But this would give Israel an unprecedented amount of information coming directly from our own intelligence sources, including AI and further weapons technology. This goes without saying at this point, but everybody should contact their senators and their representatives and tell them to vote no on this.
Yeah, good luck
There's
with that.
There's definitely going to be millions of dollars of AIPAC money going into influencing the votes. Now, as of today, May 31st, this has not been voted on yet, but the legislation it's in is part of the Pentagon's budget, which they're already trying to give them billions of dollars more than they have in the past. With how much we have lost over the last...
U.S. intelligence orgs have already been intel sharing for years. Yeah. It's essentially just a way of codifying an existing relationship. Like, we already have this relationship with the state of Israel. Well, whatever. It's obviously not good. You know, I know a lot of people are going to, run away with it. Thanks for playing the video, even if you don't agree with it. But I do agree with the video. The video is factually correct. It's just, I just want people to frame it correctly because I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of people acting as though we're now taking orders from IDF officers or whatever. Again, Israel doesn't control America. They're both just controlled by the same people, which is capital. The current arrangement's illegal, Sinuage. We should not be giving weapons to Israel. What's the law? What's the law? I'm blanking. What's the law? The law that prevents us from selling weapons to Israel. Leahy, thank you. I was thinking Likud, but that's their parliament. Either way, that's Bibi's party in the parliament in the Knesset. Yeah. Wasn't Leahy that Israeli terrorist group? Yes, which is the reason why it's called that. Right? No, wait. Or is that a different? Hold on. Leahy Act? No, that's a different thing. Senator Leahy. Then what's the name of that group? Leahy, different spelling. Senator Leahy was a terrorist or something? I don't know. Yes. He did the Nakba or whatever. Funny it worked out that way? Yeah, it's a little funny. Man, building a castle must have felt good as fuck back in the day, huh? Like, nowadays, you can build a big fortress, and it's basically just a bunch of depots and bunkers and airstrips and stuff, and then it gets droned anyway. But back then, it was like, yeah, assemble a few stone walls on top of a hill, and now you're just undefeatable until they get an army 5 times the size of yours. It's fucked up. Probably wasn't great to be the worker building it. Yeah, probably not. Since it was like a Crusader castle too, they were probably like enslaving local Arabs or whatever. Imagine me the guy who first saw cannons getting your castle blown the fuck up. You'll never get through these walls. They are so thick, no arrow nor ballista can pierce it. And then you hear an explosion and just a chunk of it gets knocked out. Word didn't travel quickly back then either. So like you probably, a lot of people probably found out about cannons for the first time while facing them. Like, it's not like they looked at their phone in the morning and were like, oh, cannons invented, or whatever. They would have just been in a castle thinking like, I'm invincible. And then they would have seen like a hunk of iron on wheels roll up, and then a boom, and then their castle's gone. Yeah, they probably thought that shit was magic. You know how mad they were? Oh, they must have been mad as fuck. That must have sucked. Lebanon is an Arab? Whatever. Fuck you. Israel's launched a ground invasion, capturing dozens of Lebanese villages and towns. More like leveled them, but, you know.